I did a short review of As Above, So Below a few days ago, last week. And I'm not going to go over any of that again. I'm also not going to bother to more specifically explain how As Above, So Below reflects Dante's Divine Comedy or the Inferno. However, there are things about this film I would like to point out. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about some of the cast of characters. This is Scarlett. It is her father that I mentioned in the other video was the historian, and now she is trying to follow in her father's footsteps and prove her father right, because her father killed himself. And now, of course, the scientific community is questioning whether or not he was all there. At one point in this film, she keeps seeing her father's body hanging in different places. She goes to try to pull the cloth off of the father's face, and it turns out to be her face. A lot of people, A, don't notice that it's her face, and don't understand why. Personally, I think it is a demonstration of the fact that she is terrified, because at the beginning of the film, Reza comments that everyone who hunts for Flamel's stone is crazy. She is afraid she is going crazy too. Meet George. George is in love with Scarlett. They sort of approach that close to the end when he points out that the 1 week he had spent with her in this one country where he ended up being arrested, ended up in a jail in Turkey. That was the greatest week of his life. But all through the film, you hear Scarlett calling George like he's a puppy. She knows he's in love with her. And she just basically assumes that he's going to follow her wherever she needs to go. And what's worse is she's right. This is Benji. He is the filmmaker, the documentarian. And there are many theories that because the sins of most of the people except for Benji, Zed, and Susi are, well, half of the cast you understand, the other half you don't. In his case, the theory is that he left a woman back in the United States so he could come to France and do this documentary because that mattered more to him. There's also some theories about the fact that he may have cheated on said woman and got somebody else pregnant. And either way, all that matters is his career. And that comes into brilliant focus when the cave is going to collapse on him. He's trying to crawl through this tunnel. It's crashing. You can hear it. And all he keeps screaming is, grab the camera. Grab the fucking camera. This is Suxi. Her son is also not told. However, Latop kills her. And I'm not ruining anything by telling you that. Essentially, the ones that survived are the ones that have the pin cams, and they take Benji's camera with them. Half the cast dies. There are only like one or two other people that you see for fractions of seconds, and it's not really worth worrying about. My theory about her is because it's Latop that kills her, and Papillon, who we'll discuss in a few minutes, says that he went in this tunnel and never came out. I think she encouraged Latop to go, and when he didn't come out, she went to her boyfriend, Papillon, and said, don't go in after him, because Latop says, you didn't even come looking for me. Never, never. You didn't look. So that becomes both her sin and Papillon's sin at the same time. Ah, Papillon. If I was younger, I'd be in love. Except Papillon's problem is twofold. One, it's avarice. He is greedy. All through the film, his motivation, why he is willing to help Scarlett, is because he is accepting her word that there is treasure where they're going to go. And he and his friends get half the treasure. And when they finally, at one point, they think they are trapped and have nowhere to go, they're at a dead end, and where they come from, they can't get back out of. They find the entrance finally to this one place. And all you hear him saying is, the treasure, the treasure. And in the end, it is his determination to get at that treasure that causes disaster for everybody. And our last cast member is Zed. Zed is a very easygoing boy. He's been friends with Papillon for years. They grew up together. But apparently his sin is that he has a child, and he knows it's his child, but he won't acknowledge it. This child shows up at one point early in the film as a vision that they see. He looks freaked out over it. La Taupe says the question wasn't what was that, because there was also this great big sound happening at the same time, but who is that? My question about this young boy that Zed is apparently not acknowledging up until this moment is, why does the boy look like he's been beaten half to death? He's supposed to be like a 5-year-old boy, and there are bruises of black eyes and blood everywhere on this kid. That is not in the way a normal kid looks. All of these are just aside points. These are just my personal quirks, and I'm indulging myself. I feel like it's going to be a beautiful day. My laundry's already done. I wanted to do something that would make me happy, because goodness knows the news doesn't make me happy these days. I will point out one thing that drives me nuts about any sort of found footage film. The Blair Witch Project did so well because it was true to that idea. The only footage you see is what comes from the 3 cameras that the guys are supposedly carrying. Every other practically found footage film will have it where you've got the perspective of the people, and then suddenly you'll have this outside perspective seeing the whole group. Well, if it's a found footage and it's only from their cameras, who is taking the picture of the whole group? The only film I have seen that actually addressed this fact is also very good, but is Gonjiam Asylum. And at one point, the captain stops the video and sees, he's counting all the people that are supposed to be there. He says, well, if they're all in frame, who's taking the picture? Ah, isn't that the question? That is how you cope with the fact that you want to do that sort of shit. You don't just suddenly go, oh, well, we're just abandoning our found footage format and because we wanted to have this perspective, it looked better. No. If you're going to do it, do it. Please don't misunderstand me. It's a great film. I love it. Watch it. So sorry. I said that Papillon's sin was twofold, and I forgot the second fold. Papillon, in his youth, set a car on fire, not knowing someone was in it. Papillon has a problem with responsibility.